here we are, 2026. What is going to be the federal poverty line or federal poverty level, as they like to say? According to projections, the federal poverty line is likely going to increase by about 4.9% over what it was last year in 2025, up to roughly $16,430 for an individual and roughly $22,200 for a household of two. It's very, very important to understand these numbers. And here's the deal. It's more than just about your SSI benefit as well. Remember, how do they determine eligibility for virtually all of these other low-income programs that are out there? Now, not every single one of them, but the bulk of these programs that are out there. How do they determine eligibility? Someone's income as a percentage of the federal poverty line. 100% of the federal poverty line, 130% of the federal poverty line, something like that. Generally, if somebody's income is 100% or below the federal poverty line, your availability and eligibility for a ton of low-income programs all across the board is out there, okay? Now, obviously, when it comes down to the food stamp program, it's generally 130% of the federal poverty line or lower, which is what allows somebody to be eligible for these programs. And again, the reason that we want to watch it so closely for SSI, Supplemental Security Income, administered by Social Security for roughly 7.5 million people, is simply because of all the pieces of legislation that are out there floating around, including the SSI Restoration Act, which hasn't passed yet, to be 100% fair with you. But many of the pieces of legislation that are out there suggest the same thing. Raise SSI benefits to the federal poverty line. So every single year that the benefits are not increased to the federal poverty line, they're falling further and further behind. Now remember, in 2025, with a federal poverty line of $15,650 and a maximum individual benefit of $967, benefits were below the federal poverty line by 34.85%. That's nasty. I mean, that is really, really nuts right there, okay? Now, I'm going to be fair with you. I have not run the calculations. I have not run the math on this. But if the federal poverty line goes up to $16,430 for an individual, I'm not sure what that is on a monthly basis. I need to run the math on that still. But then the maximum benefit right now in 2026 being $994. I wouldn't be shocked if we're still below the federal poverty line by somewhere around the 35%. Again, that's nuts. That is absolutely nuts with how far below the federal poverty line is, right? And again, remember, the whole reason I'm making such a big deal about this is because when the SSI program was formed back in the early 70s under Nixon, Richard Nixon, the whole purpose of this program was an anti-poverty program to make sure that adults 65 and over with a limited income, limited resources, and those individuals under the age of 65 with disabilities would not need to be reliant on friends and family and acquaintances for financial stability. That was literally the purpose of the program. That's why they formed this program. Well, guess what SSI beneficiaries are reliant on now? Yeah, friends, family, acquaintances, and the government, because the program is failing the beneficiary. If they just paid out benefits equal to parity with the federal poverty line, do you think SSI beneficiaries would be struggling financially to the degree that they are right now? Let me give you a quick example. And again, I'm going to go back to 2025 here for a second, even though here we are kind of mid-2026 right now. I'm going to go back to 2025 because I know the numbers, and in 2026, we don't know exactly what the numbers are going to be yet. In 2025, SSI benefits on an individual level would have needed to be increased by $337 a month just to be brought up to the federal poverty line. Now, my question for you is this. Drop your comment down below and let me know. I would love to read your comments. As an SSI beneficiary, back in 2025, getting a maximum benefit of $967 would increase to your benefit of $337 up to $1,304 a month. Would that have changed your life? Okay, drop a comment down below. Yes or no? Would an extra $337 last year, would that have changed your life? Monthly, by the way. Okay, I would anticipate something very similar right now in 2026. As an individual, receiving the maximum of $994 a month as an individual on SSI, would an extra, say, $340 a month change your life a little bit?